So, good afternoon. How's everybody doing today? Or good morning, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. These my blueberry bushes in their tunnel, safe from birds and squirrels, because I have them in bird netting. And then you see the chicken wire along the fence because I have gaps under my fence, and I have that wooded area that backs my property where a bunch of wild cottontails live. So I have to keep them out of the garden. These are called super hoops that help to create my blueberry tunnel, and they're adjustable. You see they have the adjustment knobs right here, so they're adjustable, and they're very convenient because I can heighten them as the bushes grow, and I can also widen them. And then again, that's bird netting that helps to create the tunnel. This is my premier blueberry bush, and shout out to Lead Farmer 73. He shared his idea of how he labels his trees and bushes using aluminum cans, and that is exactly where I got the idea from him. So we give credit where credit's due. We ain't scared of saying, good looking out. So good looking out, Lead Farmer 73. So again, that's my premier blueberry bush. And this one is my Brightwell blueberry. That's my Brightwell blueberry bush, and she's budding as well as the premier. She's budding. I haven't named her. I think that one's name is going to be Buddy Buddy. There is a backstory to that name. But this bush right here, my Brightwell blueberry bush, is named Shania. I have a niece named Shania, and I named my blueberry bush Shania. And this one here is my powdery blue blueberry bush, and her name is Marcella. My girlfriend Marcella, my very dear girlfriend Marcella, helped me plant these blueberry bushes, and she chose this one to be her namesake. So that's my powdery blue, and she's budding also. So, yeah, I am going to plant some nasturtium in here, and I'm thinking about putting a little bit of some dwarf sunflower seeds that I have in between the blueberry bushes. Okay, and then here is my rain barrel system, and that is not a snake. That's the water hose that I use to attach to the rain barrel, and I collect all my water from the gutter. I'm going to get an overflow barrel this summer because that always fills up. And then these are some pots that are full of compost and rabbit manure, and I just have to add in some perlite and some potting soil, and I'm going to put tomatoes in those, and I'm also going to plant some, I think, vine peas to wrap around the pillars just to add some beauty. Okay, and then we'll come over here And I'm going to do that to all three of the pots and the post. So hopefully this summer, the three of these will be full and bushy and green, producing tomatoes. And those posts will be hidden behind peas and beautiful flowers. Okay, so this is my comfrey. And the only reason I grow this is because it creates the most awesome fertilizer. My garden loves it. And here's my little strawberry patch with my ever-bearing strawberries. There are some Ozark strawberries in there. And there's a strawberry called Chef's Favorite Strawberry. And they're all ever-bearing. And they're in their little strawberry bed. I'm going to get some copper wire to wrap around that bed, the entire bed, just to help deter slugs. Slugs don't like copper. And I usually put a lot of Epsom salt around the base of the bed as well, because that helps to just deter that helps to deter slugs as well. And then that's a 5-gallon pot, and that's a cedar barrel and another cedar barrel. They're composting down some leaves that I put in them just to add a whole bunch of nitrogen to the soil. So, and there's a lot of compost in there as well. So all of these are just kind of breaking themselves down and waiting for me to plant something in them. But that's very live soil. It's very much alive. And then here's my composter. And it's full of organic fruit and vegetable scraps, as well as some leaves, raked leaves from my yard. And there's also, and then you just take it and spray it with water. And I don't know if I can show you, but this is very much alive too. There's all kind of little micro life inside of here. And the next time you see this, the next time you guys see this, it'll be broken down into some beautiful, dark, live compost that'll look something similar to this. This is my last batch of compost I made. You see how beautiful that is? And I'm so proud because I made this, you guys. Isn't that beautiful? So I know what's in there. I know exactly how this was made. And I promise you guys that this looked exactly, these are just little blades of grass from me putting the shovel or whatever in there. I know exactly how that was made and what's in it because I made it. Okay. And so then we'll come over here to my little perennial garden, with the exception of my red lettuce over there. But there you have chives. And then you have rosemary. That's a sage. And there's another sage. And then there's another rosemary. And then some Italian oregano. And then there is some lemon thyme. So this is my little perennial garden. And again, I have it wrapped with critter fencing. And this is my potato sack. It's my jumbo potato bag. However, I will not be growing potatoes in here this year. That's the reason why there's a red cage there, because I will be growing my sugar baby watermelons in here, or at least one of them. And then here's another oak barrel, a large one. I'm sorry, it's a cedar barrel, excuse me. And it has compost in it, and it's awaiting its babies that it'll nurture and grow for me. And then here is one of my beds with my little baby collards. So yeah, we're going to have collards. And then you come up a little and there's some cilantro and kale and more cilantro and curly kale. Some good stuff. And then here are the onions that we started indoors. Remember we started the onion bulbs? And I put some phosphorus down, some bone meal. And that's important too for onions because they're bulbs. And bone meal feeds bulbs. So that's why you see things like tulips and onions on the front of the bag of bone meal. And I've already put my trellis up. So there'll be beautiful flowers and big green leaves from beans that I'm going to grow that are going to climb all the way across it. Okay. And then we come over here, and this is my asparagus pot. And if you look closely, let me see if I can zoom in on it. You can see my asparagus is coming back. Asparagus is a perennial. And a perennial means that it'll come back for a few years at least. It'll self-seed and self-grow. And so, yeah, there is my asparagus growing in. And this is my second year growing asparagus. So technically, I could harvest these and eat them. You want to wait and give asparagus about 2 or 3 years to establish itself before you start harvesting it. So, yeah, but look, aren't they pretty? Over here to my other bird bath. It's got water in it because it rained. We're expecting more rain, so we don't want anyone laying their eggs in there. So we'll just pour that out. And then over here we have my rain gauge. My rain gauge. And let's see. So I'll just pour that out. Wait till the next rain. And then you can see my black Asian lilies are coming in. Stepped on that one. And then there's one. And there's one back there tucked away safe and out of the way, so it's growing in nice and healthy and pretty. But I also planted back there to go grow on that trellis some highly scented sweet pea flowers. And then there's a light that goes in this bird bath. And it's an agitator with a light that changes colors on it. It's really pretty at night. And so I bought a bunch of organic garden soil. I don't want to, you guys see the bags. I don't want to keep showing them because I don't want to advertise anybody's product. But I am going to put all the garden soil along this fence line back here. And over there as well. Because for the first time, I am not going to utilize this space as potager gardening, which is flower gardening. I'm going to use it to grow corn, beans, and squash. The three sisters will go back here. But I'll throw some flowers in for the pollinators as well. You have to. I'm still working on the design for that. And then over here, I'm going to do, along the fence over here, I'm sorry. Let me walk a little closer. I'm going to do, I think, a crookneck squash. That'll go over here, along with some flowers for the pollinators. And then again, there's my little mushroom farm. Doing her little thing. Well, are those edible? Yes, they are. But, well, what they are not poisonous. These will be used to make medicinal teas. But I have other mushrooms that are in these spores, if you can see them. And those are hen of the wood mushrooms. And they're all over those oak logs. So we're going to use those to eat those. Protein, homegrown protein. So yeah, I'm growing my own protein, my own fruits, my own vegetables. And I hope you guys join me. And then there's the arch again, my trellis, and then my bed. There's where the tomatoes will go in those 3 pots. And they're interdeterminate, so I'm hoping they'll crawl all the way up the pole. And on the back side of the pole, I'm going to put some vining flowers and some peas. So those poles, I'm hoping, are going to be totally covered. And then again, this is where I'll plant something in that big cedar barrel. My watermelons will go here. That bowl goes on top of this stump, and it also turns into a bird bath. And it has a sprout that shoots the water up out of it. So I'm just showing you guys this space while it's cleaned and ready to receive, but still somewhat dormant, because it's still kind of too cold out here for me to bring a lot of things out and put in the garden. So the things that I could plant outside, which are in the brassicas family, curly kale and collard greens. And then over here, onions, which are not in the brassicas family, but they can stand a little frost-hardy weather. But we're not going down to freezing temperatures again, I don't think. So these are fine. And then again, my beautiful asparagus. So yeah, I think I'm going to put potatoes along here. I'm going to dig this up and plant potatoes right along here. I have those logs there to keep the wild cottontails out of my yard. But so here we go, folks. Before she fully comes alive, this is what my garden looks like.